is of no value to us because at the moment we're only receiving around 8% of this amount. But given the amount of the value of the resource available to us, if we could harness to a larger extent the value of the resource, it would provide us with the opportunity and the capacity to become more climate resilient and to be able to adapt in the way that we need to adapt in order to address this challenge. I believe that there should be more equity and justice in the business partnership within the fishing industry. Custodians of such resources should be allowed a meaningful participation in the industry, for we believe that it will only be through realizing the true value of this resource to us that we can provide the much needed financial resources for adaptation to the change in climate. Ladies and gentlemen, we recognize the critical importance of our ocean and the resources within for the future of our people. And accordingly, with the assistance of our partners, Conservation International and New England Aquarium, we established in 2008 one of the then largest marine protected areas in our part of the world, the Phoenix Islands Protected Area, or PIPA, as we call it. PIPA was inscribed on UNESCO as a World Heritage Site in 2010. And it's not only the largest living laboratory where scientists can study an atoll environment ecosystem in its pristine stages, but it is also a major spawning ground for tuna. So its closure will have a major contribution to the conservation and to the rejuvenation of fish stocks and to global food security. For us, it is an investment in the future. It is also our contribution to humanity, to the conservation and the preservation of marine life, not only for us, but for the global community and for the generations to come. More importantly, it indicates our strong conviction to the global community that addressing the challenges of climate change calls for very serious commitment and sacrifice. The establishment of PIPA has not been done without sacrifices. And as a small economy, the projected initial loss in revenue weighed very significantly in our consideration. But at the final analysis, we made the decision to persist with effective sustainable strategies. I'm very happy today to announce that at this conference that Kiribati has taken the decision to fully close all commercial fishing activities within the Phoenix Islands Protected Area with effect from the 1st of January 2015. We have not stopped there. We have also recently taken an initial step to declare the 12-mile nautical zone surrounding each of the islands in the Southern Line Islands group closed off from all commercial fishing activities to allow for the marine environment surrounding these islands to remain in their current pristine conditions. Ladies and gentlemen, this efforts at conservation and sustainable management of our ocean and marine life is not only confined to Kiribati. In 2010, leaders of our region at the Pacific Islands Forum unanimously adopted the Pacific Oceanscape, a framework for targeted set of actions needed for our region to safeguard the health of our oceans. As a region, we take our obligations as stewards of one of the greatest natural endowments in the world very seriously. Our obligation to ensure that the Pacific Ocean sustains life on this planet, not only for now, but for the days to come. Our continued commitment as a region will be reflected in the theme of the upcoming Pacific Islands Forum meeting to be held in Palau, which is the ocean, our life, our future. Following endorsement of the Pacific Oceanscape, Other Pacific Island countries also declared designated marine protected areas. The Cook Islands in 2012 declared 1.4 million square kilometers. My friend from Palau, President Mengisau, declared all of Palau exclusive economic zone closed. Other countries have done the same. And so, this is the momentum that we want to carry on. Within the Pacific, we have a number of arrangements in place to ensure that we do the job that needs to be done. The Pacific region, therefore, has some of the more stringent and most elaborate conservation and management arrangements and measures for this purpose, including through the Pacific Islands Forum, the Forum Fisheries Agency, the Pacific Community, the South Pacific Regional Environment Program, the Western and Central Pacific Tuna Fisheries Commission, the U.S. Multilateral Treaty, as well as a sub-regional coastal fisheries resource, a sub-regional grouping of coastal fisheries resource owners under the parties to the Nauru Agreement. Ladies and gentlemen, let me emphasize that conservation and sustainable management efforts at the national and regional levels will be futile if such efforts are not supported and complemented at the global level. Global inaction to regulate and ensure the levels of extraction for our oceans and planet, to ensure that they are sustainable, will ultimately result in the loss of the entire ecosystems. Declaring closed areas for marine protected areas and conservation will have no meaning if the closure of these MPAs cannot be enforced. The technology to ensure effective management and protection of the oceans is not something new, but it has yet to be put into effective use. Such technology will complement and enhance existing collaborative surveillance agreements necessary to ensure that our oceans, covering some 2/3 of the Earth's surface, is effectively monitored and protected. Ladies and gentlemen, we urge the global community, our development partners, our distant fishing water partners, private businesses, individuals, and those who can and who share the vision to also make similar sacrifices, including making contributions to supporting the marine protected areas. It makes good financial sense to do so. Our presence here today is part of the necessary steps towards joint global action, joint global commitment, and joint global obligation to preserve and save our home, our one and only home. Our presence here is acknowledgement of our shared responsibility to ensure the health of our ocean and our environment. Let us not allow this momentum, let us not slow this momentum, but let us continue forward, linking outcomes from the summit with the upcoming SIDS, Small Island Developing States Forum in Samoa, as well as the United Nations Secretary-General Climate Change Summit later this year. The preservation of our oceans and action against climate change, global obligations towards the future survival and security of our peoples. And I speak on behalf of my fellow Pacific leaders in stressing that they should be given exclusive focus as we shape the post-2015 development goal. We are one global community, and we have a collective responsibility to ensure that planet Earth, our home, our children's home, and their children's home continues to sustain life as we know it today. We can no longer afford to remain idle, to stand on the sideline. Let us pool our resources,